Yay.
Okay. Hello and good evening out there in YouTube land. This is Tom Connors, and welcome to Midnight's Edge After Dark, after midnight. Isn't that right, Mecha? Well, at least where I'm at now. You're not anymore.
Not anymore. No, it's only 11 for me.
It's only 11 for you. See, you're still in Thanksgiving land. We're past that now.
You're
It's
in Black
Friday.
Friday.
It's
Black
Friday. You did some Black Friday shopping, didn't you?
Yeah, just a little bit. Not too much. There's more stuff tomorrow I'm probably gonna go shopping for that I can't afford, but yeah.
I did some online shopping, but not much. I can't really afford it. So,
Same here, but I mean I needed a stream deck, so I went ahead and bought the stream deck online because nobody has it.
Yeah.
And of course I had to get Soul Calibur 6 because I just made a video on that and I really wanted to. Yeah.
Or whatever the noise it used to make in the arcade. I used to have that arcade
Yeah.
at a video store, and that's all I remember. Soul Calibur. Watching. The sword thing would come up, and it would do it like every 15 minutes or 10 minutes or whatever.
Yeah. But it's fun, though. I mean,
Oh, yeah, it's
games.
fun.
Those are fun games.
You have to let me know if that's worth it. I like to wait usually.
Probably just wait because I really shouldn't have spent what I spent on it even on the Black Friday sale. I'm probably gonna play it for like 2 hours and that's about it. But I love those games though. I do kind of go through and play them on story mode and then I never touch them like competitively, or I never go online with them and never fight anybody.
Right. Well, speaking of games, I heard earlier that because of the Spider-Man bundle that's out there that Rob picked up and Red Dead Redemption 2 and stuff like that, the PS4s are like selling like hotcakes, I guess.
Oh yeah. I kept seeing people.
Especially because of Spider-Man, I guess. But yeah.
Oh yeah, I went to Target, Best Buy, and Walmart, and I didn't see anybody put any Xboxes in their carts. It was all the Spider-Man PlayStation bundles and the Switch bundles with Mario Kart. So those are gonna sell. Those are really selling.
See, I thought about a Switch. And you want to know why? It's because that's the only thing I can find that the new Civilization game is on besides PC.
Yeah,
so I'm like debating on should I just get the PC version maybe, or
I would say
because it's out on PC already. But
do you want to play Mario Kart at all?
Not really.
Yeah.
What else is on the new Nintendo? I haven't really played anything.
Mario and Rabbids Kingdom Battle was like $20 for Black Friday. It's really good. It's kind of like XCOM.
I like old Mario.
Yeah, it was kind of like XCOM with Mario characters.
I have not liked a Mario game since Mario 3, full disclosure.
Mario Odyssey is really good, but you'd have to kind of like Mario 64.
I've heard some that are like similar, yeah, but I just no.
Yeah, there are some good games, but yeah, if you're not gonna play like Mario Kart at least, then you probably want to skip it.
I never have time anyway.
Yeah.
The other fucking problem is I literally had to like lose sleep and put time aside to finish Red Dead.
Oh yeah, I haven't even hooked up the PlayStation since I've been here. It's really bad. I need to.
All right, well, I think we've talked shit long enough. I think we got a good enough crowd immersed. How's everybody out in the chat doing? Happy Thanksgiving, everybody. If you're still celebrating, that is. We got all kinds of great people, some usuals like DJD Show. How you doing? Blue Cat, of course. Who else do I recognize here? Some people I don't recognize. Thanks for joining us for the first time. Matt Guy, of course. Leandro Pontos. I can't even read anymore. I ate too much turkey. I ate way too much turkey today. I had a turkey sandwich a little bit ago too. Nihilus is on here. Rolo Cat. All right. So let's get started. We did have a little bit of news happen. This is kind of not new news, but it's newer news. We forgot to cover this the other day. You a Rambo fan at all?
I don't remember them. I probably saw them many. I don't remember. I kind of get the gist of them. It's been so long since I've seen them.
Well, we finally got a synopsis on what Rambo Last Blood is going to be all about. It was on again, off again for years. Sounds like Stallone's like, I think I can do it one more time. So it's been 10 years since the last Rambo film. So in that time, like most of us assumed, we'd seen the last of the PTSD suffering, ever tormented action movie icon. See, this is why Rob reads. I'm worse reader than Rob. You should actually probably be doing this. The 2008 film Rambo ended on a melancholic and befitting note that saw the titular character return home from what seemed like peace for what seemed like peace and retirement. However, Stallone clearly had other plans after toying with some ideas that ultimately went nowhere. Stallone recruited newcomer Matt Cyrilnik. See, I should have read this before I fucking did. I mean, I did read this, but like reread it again. To pen a script that would see Rambo face down the Mexican cartel and provide the character with one final send-off, aptly titled Rambo Last Blood. Oh boy, there's a lot here. The story begins with a violent and horrific cold opening. We witness the kidnapping of 29-year-old Carmen and 8-year-old Melissa Delgado, two sisters who, while casually walking on the street, are grabbed by a pair of Mexican gangsters and thrown into the back of a van. Should I do it in my movie voice? Yes. Carmen is strong enough to fight off the men and is able to throw herself out the moving van and escape. However, Melissa is not so lucky, and in a world is taken by men. I can't do that forever. And so Melissa's not so lucky. She's taken by the men despite Carmen's best efforts. We transition to Bowie, Arizona, where we find this is a lot of detail. Damn.
This is like the whole movie.
I know, right? Where we find the now 70-year-old John Rambo, where we left him, living a peaceful life in his bucolic farmland cottage. Jesus fucking Christ. Rambo seems to have left his past behind. He has a caretaker named Maria Beltran, who cooks and cleans for him while Rambo spends his days tending to his farm and occasionally working simple jobs in the local town. Rambo also seems to be suffering from severe PTSD and spends much of his days at the bar drinking. We also come to learn that over the years, Rambo has also gotten very close to Maria's daughter, Gabriella, as he has watched her grow and, in a way, helped care for her in the absence of her father. The plot really kicks into gear when one day a distraught and panicked Maria comes to Rambo and claims that Gabriella has gone missing. Upon asking for details, Maria informs Rambo that Gabriella had attended a party the night before at a nightclub in Puerto Penasco. I think I'm saying that right, with her friends. Rambo meets with one of Gabriella's friends and comes to learn that Gabriella had been speaking to and had been bought drinks by a man named Pinton. Rambo visits the this is the whole fucking movie. It's like, where do I find this Pinton guy? Worst nightmare. Informs him that he is a sex. Pinton informs him that he is a sex. Yeah, because you're just going to tell somebody that, right?
Yeah, of course.
I'm a sex trafficker, by the way, and that she has been sold to the cartel. Shocked by this information, Rambo violently kills Pinton. They just give us the whole fucking plot here. I don't know if I should continue reading or not. Spoilers, guys, I guess. Rambo violently kills Pinton and leaves his corpse on the street. Unbeknownst to Rambo, Carmen Delgado, the woman from the opening, witnesses the entire thing and begins to this is really like the whole plot. I don't know. Let's see what the chat thinks. Should I keep reading this, guys?
Articles. Did he just copy and paste the whole script?
Well, it's at least the screenplay, or not screenplay, but the synopsis. The synopsis. No, it's more than a synopsis. This is like somebody's treatment. That's what I was trying to think of the word. Wow. I mean, I don't have a problem. Continue. Yeah. See, a couple people are saying don't read, so I'm not going to. I don't want to spoil that for anybody. And it's not that it seems like I'll keep reading it if you guys wanted me to. I just don't want to spoil the movie for anybody who's interested. I didn't realize it was that in depth. Because I've been kind of sitting on this for a couple of days. I'm looking forward to this, actually. I know you're not a very big Rambo fan. I was a huge fan of the last Rambo. Thunder Dan Action Man says it reeks of bullshit. To a point, yes, but I've also heard stuff, so it may not be.
Well, they're saying it sounds a lot like the new Terminator movie, like the same plot of that.
Interesting. Well, maybe some things will change. Oh, Nihilist says, keep reading. I don't know. I don't know if I should. There's a few people out there who probably don't want me to, so I don't want to piss anybody off in case it does happen to be legit.
Well, what you could do is just make a video of that separately. Make that like a mini sort of news brief.
Well, yeah, I did send it to Rob, but he's been so busy, I don't think he got a chance to check it out. That's why I figured, we'll just bring it on here. But yeah, according to Nerd Report, this website does not BS. Yeah, I'm not too familiar with them, so all I can say is take it with a grain of salt. But we've been getting a lot of information on the Rambo movie, and this kind of links up to that. They want to link to the article here. I'll get that again. I'm gonna go get it back up here. So yeah, at least those guys, if you want to read it, I can link you the article here. But yeah, so other than that, sounds interesting. The last movie took the series way back to serious land, because the first movie, of course, was serious, and then from the second and third movie weren't so serious, if you ask me, at least in a sense of how realistic they were.
Mm-hmm.
And then the last movie took it back there, and this sounds like it's kind of more in that vein. And I have a feeling I don't have to continue the reading, but chances are, I bet you Rambo dies at the end.
Well,
spoilers.
Do you think though that maybe like that'll be like the ending in the synopsis, but then they'll reshoot it and have him live once they realize, oh, this is gonna make some money, so we can make a sequel.
That's very possible. I don't know. I think I think he's done with Rambo. And I haven't seen Creed yet, but I gotta imagine if they do another one, if he even lives through this one, don't tell me, guys, because I haven't seen it yet, that he'll be in that, and that's about it. But he's kind of more of a side character in Creed than with Rambo. He's carrying the whole thing himself. And let's face it, Stallone's not the youngest guy in the world.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so I mean, the last one did very well. It's been quite a while since then. I don't see why, we shouldn't do another one. It's one of his signature characters. Why not?
Yeah.
I mean, I know like you said, you're not much of a fan, but I'm all for it. What about you guys in the chat? What do you think? Whether that's real or not, are you guys even looking forward to a fifth film? Yeah, the fourth Rambo was the most realistic Leandro, but the first movie was pretty realistic too. So, let's see.
Why not, right? I mean, what? I would rather have here's the thing. I'd rather have infinite sequels than infinite reboots, because at least sequels, they're still kind of diluting the original story, and it's still never as good as the original. Or like once in a blue moon, you'll get one that's better than the original, but it's not as bad as a reboot.
Well, and there was a point where they were going to do a reboot, actually, which is funny. They were going to completely reboot the series with, I believe they were looking at casting a black guy to play him. Yeah, so I don't know, and have him be like an Afghan veteran and stuff like that instead, and update it. I'm glad we just get at least another Rambo, and if they want to reboot it a couple years down the road, then I don't care. Okay, yeah.
Maybe not even rebooting it, but like have something that's like in the same vein of, make their own thing. Don't make him Rambo again, but make it like, have some sort of tie-in, maybe like a spin-off series. I don't think I would have that much of a problem with it if they spun it off.
Yeah, a lot of people are saying they lost interest after the first one. I don't know. Did you guys not see Rambo other than Leandro? Because Rambo was awesome. Yeah, Nihilus, you're not wrong. The last one was probably perfect ending, but I mean, it could do worse, I'm sure. It's probably not going to cost a buttload to make.
I mean, it's going to be like an easy, quick buck. I hate to say it, because these movies, they're not going to be super loaded with CG. They're not going to have like a bunch of superhero effects that they need to do.
Right.
Yeah, I don't know. If they spend like a handful, like let's say they spend, $50 million on it and they make 100.
I don't even think they spent 10 or 15 million on the last one. I don't even think they spent 10. Honestly. Because at that time, that was before Stallone had kind of made a big comeback. I mean, that was kind of like his in the middle of his big comeback there. But yeah, Matt Guy, if you have not seen it, anybody out there who's not seen Rambo from 2008, check it out. I mean, it's really good. So yeah, I think we're getting kind of a synopsis, and most people don't really care. I'm actually getting the idea that some of you would rather just see it rebooted. I don't know about that, but to me, Stallone's Rambo, period.
Yeah, so that's why they need they could have it in the same universe, but don't have the new guy be Rambo. Have him in Gulf War or Afghanistan War, something more modern. They can easily modernize it with a new guy and a new name.
Right. Well, and KSSS says, I wouldn't mind if First Blood was made closer to the novel, directed by the Coen brothers. Now, if they did something like that years down the road when Stallone's like way old and retired or, God forbid, dead, I probably wouldn't have a problem with that, especially if you keep actually to go against what Random just said. If you actually keep it in the time period set in the novel. And yeah, Leandro, only one guy died in the first movie. That's because Stallone didn't want to kill a bunch of people because he knew if he killed a bunch of cops, then Rambo would be a bad guy. Even though in the book he does, I believe, kill a lot more than he actually kills quite a few people, I think. But anyway, he goes like.
Do you remember on You Can't Do That on Television? They had one of their like kind of fake movie trailers. It was Rambo kills everyone. And they were kind of in the theater, and I guess the movie came to life and it ended up killing everybody in the audience.
Right.
Yeah. See Rambo kill your friends. See Rambo kill you. It was amazing.
I think I remember that actually.
God, I loved You Can't Do That on Television.
Yeah, I thought it was pretty good. Was that the one that what's her face? Landis Morissette was on, or she was on the other one?
Yeah, she was on You Can't Do That on Television.
Okay, that's what I thought. Yeah. Well, we both like that, but one thing we really weren't big fans of when we were younger was Lion King.
Oh, that's an adorable picture.
It is though, isn't it? But I was never like a huge fan of the original. It was all right. It's like, oh, Disney's Hamlet. How quaint. You know. You haven't even seen it, you said.
No, I skipped it. It didn't look that interesting. I wasn't huge into Disney movies anyway.
Well, and you ran into the same issue I did too. I loved The Little Mermaid. I was kind of just like, to Beauty and the Beast. By the time Lion King came out, I was a teenager. Yeah. So you would have been a teenager too. So I can see that to a point, even if you were, you know, even though everybody saw it, you know, you were kind of around that age group where I was, because I didn't even see it till a couple of years after it came out. And even then I was like, oh yeah, it's okay. You know?
Well, remember when we were teenagers in the 90s, we kind of had this sort of desire to kind of shed childish stuff. Kids nowadays really don't. Kids now in their, you know, they'll be like 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, still going to the Pixar and Disney movies. So, you know, it was just a different generation. I think there's a lot of kids our age that did absolutely go to every single Disney movie. But then there was like a good chunk of us who are like, nope, that's too childish. That's too much for kids. I'm going to be an adult soon. Let me, you know, be on my own and screw this kid stuff. But.
Well, not only that, there was a plethora of entertainment in the PG-13 R range that was definitely probably getting a lot more of our.
Oh, yeah.
Wow. John T. Net, thank you for the 400 Hong Kong dollar donation. Happy Thanksgiving and Simba PWNS. I don't know. I might actually like this new version better than the old one. I don't know, but I really don't have any investment in it. But I don't really see the point of doing a new animated movie of an old animated movie. Exactly. Because really, much people want to say, oh, it's the live action. No, it's not. It's still CGI. It's still animated. You know, it's even more so than Beauty and the Beast. And that's kind of what pissed me off about Beauty and the Beast was that the Beast was so computer animated. I'm like, he looked worse than, Ron Perlman in the old Beauty and the Beast show back in the
yeah. Okay, I remember that too.
Oh, why? And then I seen the actor who played him doing like some big excuses to why they would do it. It's like, no, you didn't have to. It would have been more impressive to see it more live action than it would have been to see it in CGI. And then the movie itself is like almost like an exact replica of the original. And this Lion King to me looks like you could probably lay the original, soundtrack over top of this one, and it'll probably play in sync.
Yeah,
I have a feeling
probably because it wasn't the trailer kind of a shot for shot of the original with that music that everybody impersonates that I never try to because I don't know it, but yeah, it's that whole African chanty music when he holds the kitty up over the yeah. It's adorable. He looks a lot cuter than he did in the animated one, but
yeah, it's gonna make $1 billion.
Of course it is. Of course it is, because it's cute.
It'll make more than Beauty and the Beast did because The Lion King made a hell of a lot more than Beauty and the Beast did.
Yeah.
But I think both Beauty and the Beast and The Lion King won Oscars. I really don't think you should be fucking with that. No. That's where I kind of get to that line. It's like, just re-release the original. We don't need.
They could re-release them. They could just adjust them for 3D, put the original in the theater for like a month.
Yeah. And they did that like not even 10 years ago.
No. They keep doing that. But yeah, just put the originals in the theater for I think maybe because they only get like 1 or 2 night releases when they do that. They aren't in the theater for a month to make $1 billion, you know?
Not always. Usually the Disney ones are a little hang around a little longer. But no, you're right. They don't re-release their movies as much as they used to. And I think a lot of it's because they think, oh, kids don't like the 2D animation anymore, so we got to do this 3D animated shit.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I really think it is.
Probably.
Yeah. Yeah, Lokta, you're not wrong. The stage play is more live action than this is. Yeah. And I've seen some people on our Facebook group agreeing with me. Byron Dunbar. How long do we get to before we get a CGI Fox and the Hound? Not long. That wasn't one of their bigger hits there. They're going to hit the big hits first. So that'll be down the list. That'll be
they did
after
Pete's Dragon, though, didn't they, recently?
Yeah, but that one could have been a decent remake, and they fucked it up. Because the original movie, as much as I love it and I hold it dear to my heart, I don't know if you saw the last time I was on video, I actually have a plush Elliot doll in the background. God, I was looking forward to that as a remake. I was like, okay, this is something that I could see, because the original one, as much as I love it, does not stand up special effects wise. And if you don't make it a musical, you make it a little bit more serious, I could get behind it. What they did, though, and pissed me off, is they turned Elliot into a dog. They took all his character away from him and basically turned him into a German Shepherd.
Why? Why did they do that?
I don't know. I mean, I can understand getting rid of the Gogans and a few other things, maybe, because like I was explaining to my dad, because that's actually one of my dad's favorites, and it's like, yeah, the beginning starts out all right. You kind of get a different setup. You see where this is going, but then when you meet Elliot, you're like, what the fuck is this? He has no personality whatsoever. It's just to have a flying dragon who will, sit and roll over, and it's like it's not Elliot.
It's basically How to Train Your Dragon.
Kinda. And I think that's what they were. It's like, you guys missed the boat on this one. What the fuck happened here? Because this could have been a big hit for you guys, and you blew it, in my eyes. And I think it did okay for them, but it could have probably been much better if it was a better movie. And then the human characters were kind of stupid too. So don't even get me going on that one, but yeah. Blue Cat, like the remake. It's okay. It's not the worst remake in the world. I'll give it that. You know what I mean? It's like one of those where you're like, damn it, it had so much more potential. Because if you see the original after seeing the remake, you'll probably be like, oh yeah, this is hokey. But you'll probably see what I mean by the story. The story is so much richer in the original. Elliot is a full-blown character. Like, he has personality, and you give a shit about him. He makes you laugh. He makes you cry. This Elliot is a dog. I don't understand why they had to make him a dog. It just makes no sense. I didn't care for Maleficent either, and a lot of the other remakes they've done. I can't think of one of their remakes besides The Jungle Book, which is the only reason why I'll give this one a little bit of a chance, is because Jon Favreau, who also directed that, is directing this. And The Jungle Book wasn't a beat-for-beat remake of the old one. It had some moments, but it was at least there was more to it than just being a complete ripoff of the original.
I just don't know why they keep having to like redo these. We already have them. I can't just go and see, especially if it was a movie I didn't care about in the beginning. I can't justify going and spending money to see it. Like, you're not going to get me in the theater. I know I'm the exception, and I know they're not really for me. They're more for the people who like them and just want to kind of see, oh, it's the new version. It's like the new iPhone version of this movie that I liked or whatever. And I guess that's what they're going for, is just, because especially
actually a really good analogy or whatever. Yeah.
Yeah, this generation, they're so used to getting the newest, shiniest thing. And like, they'll wait in line for the new iPhone, even though it's exactly the same goddamn thing as their old iPhone. It's just a newer model.
Pretty soon they'll be planning the reboots before the original's even out.
Yeah.
Like, they'll be so used to it by then. You're right. It'll be like, oh, I'll wait for the next one. I already seen this one.
Oh my God. That's what they're doing. That's why they're doing this with Star Trek and Star Wars. They're just giving us the newest model of it and expecting us to pay money like it's good.
Right. Well, and I love how at least Nick Meyer didn't even deny when I asked him about, In the Darkness being a ripoff of Wrath of Khan. And some of my questions I had to re-record, guys. So yeah, there is a reason why it does sound the way it does, but it was only because the way I had it hooked up, because he was on the phone, you couldn't hear me very well. So I had to do it just out of logistics. And most of the time I asked exactly the same thing I did before. But I think that was one of them where I think I said remake and when I asked it in this one, but I actually said ripoff originally. I know that for a fact. I can't remember if I re-recorded it that way or not. But yeah, and he was like totally like, oh yeah, I appreciate the homage and da 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 da, but you didn't bring nothing new to the table. You know, and that's exactly what he said. He's like, and what weight is there when you're bringing characters back to life 5 minutes after they die? Because if you know, famously, he did not want there to be any inclination that Spock was coming back. He was against that ending where they showed the Genesis planet and all that shit. Terry Light, thank you so much for the $10 super chat. So you only have to see one, Dumbo, Lion King, or Mary Poppins 2. Which one do you choose?
Mary Poppins 2.
Oh, here's my problem with this. Of all the ones you asked me, the one do I think I like? Dumbo. Well, if I have to see one, though, I'm probably going to go with Dumbo, because even though I love Mary Poppins too much, I really have no desire to see Mary Poppins 2. It really rubs me the wrong fucking way. And what's her face? I'm sorry, doesn't even hold a candle to Julie Andrews. It's just to me, it's like sacrilege. I just can't do it.
Is it Emily Blunt in this new one?
Yeah, I think it's Emily Blunt. And I'll be blunt about it. She just isn't. She's ugly compared to her. I doubt she can even sing compared to her. Julie Andrews was I'm sorry. I mean, as far as an actress goes, she has to be one up there with the most beautiful and best sounding women as far as able to sing and all that. You can't beat that. How are you going to do that? There was nobody else who could play Mary Poppins right there. I said it. Period. I don't think you're ever going to find anybody.
No.
Again, you may not think that at first, and everybody's all like, oh yeah, Emily Blunt, she looks like. Not to me. I have not seen one thing come out of that trailer that hasn't made me think, oh, we're getting a remake of Mary Poppins. And that's it. I don't see it as a sequel. It's horrid. It doesn't.
It's going to be a weird sequel remake mashup, I think. And it's going to be, God, hopefully it's not like Ghostbusters 2016, which was a sequel remake mashup, nightmare, dog shit, diarrhea smear down your throat of a fucking movie. No, I don't think. Here's the thing, though. Like, if I had to answer that question, I would probably enjoy the Mary Poppins remake the most, because the Lion King I just can't sit through. Mary Poppins has like kind of that weird little like time that I saw it when I was okay with the 1960s musicals, and I'm okay with myself at that point in my life liking them. So I probably saw them around 7 years old. I don't have that much of an attachment to them, so I think I'd be okay seeing it.
Well, I'll blow everybody's mind. Mary Poppins is hands down Walt Disney's greatest film ever. Period. I mean, yeah, his greatest accomplishment may be Fantasia, but his best film ever that he oversaw was, or overseen, I don't know which one's right, is oversaw or overseen?
I think it's oversaw.
Whichever. Was Mary Poppins. It just is. And I think it's won the most Oscars of all his movies, so I think that speaks for itself too.
Well, that was such a golden age for that type of movie too. I mean, because you had like My Fair Lady and Sound of Music and all of these musicals right around the same time, and they all kind of had that same, you know. And even Julie Andrews was the original Eliza Doolittle in My Fair Lady, and she just was unavailable to do the movie. I think it was either because of Sound of Music or Mary Poppins, because they all came out around the same time.
Yeah.
And you have this, she was so iconic at doing those type of movies, as iconic as somebody like Judy Garland was doing the film she did in the 1930s and 40s.
Yeah.
So yeah, that to me is kind of why I have such a soft spot for that. Because just the right time, right sort of style of movies, the right group of movies. I saw them at the right age. So, but I think the remake isn't going to be as terrible to me, but I don't have that attachment to it.
I don't know. I could be wrong. I'll probably see it. Byron Dunbar, I do agree with you about Pinocchio being the best animated movie. That is my favorite animated Disney era, and I think probably all-time Disney movie. That movie is so ahead of its fucking time. like with the stuff that they did with the animation and everything. And I mean, it looks like it was animated in the 60s. I heard, Gary says Herbie goes bananas. I heard that Disney doesn't own the rights to Herbie anymore or something like that. I have to check into that. I seen something about that. I don't know what's going on there.
But will we get Bruce Campbell in another Herbie movie?
I want to find that damn movie because I don't think it's been out since VHS. Most people even forgot it existed.
Maybe Blu-ray?
It'd be nice.
No, probably not Blu-ray. Maybe DVD. I think at the very least it was on
I don't know
DVD.
if it's ever been out on DVD. If it has, somebody point me to the link. I'll buy it. But yeah, most people forget they did a reboot / remake / sequel, whatever your TV movie with Bruce Campbell playing the son. I can't remember the name of the character now from the original Love Bug movie.
Oh God, it's been 30 years, more than 30 years.
But I haven't watched it in a while. Yeah, it's been a while. I know Disney did all the Herbie movies in their archive kind of thing, or whatever you want to call it, where you got to get into their movie club and you can only get them that way.
Mm.
I used to be in it, and I've got a few of them, but I only have the first Herbie movie. So Herbie is being remade. It's called the Bumblebee movie. You're not wrong.
Yeah, it does look very much like it.
Oh shit!
Which I guess I can allow because they're kind of throwing the Transformer thing in there. That could work.
Oh man, Herbie, the Lindsay Lohan Herbie movie. The funny thing is of course I worked at a video store when that came out. My kid just loved Herbie. So he had that Lindsay Lohan Herbie poster on his door for like 3 moves. And I had to see that damn thing all the time. It's like, oh. Anyway, let's get off Disney. I'm sick of talking Disney. What else is going on out there in the world? Was there any Star Trek news lately other than...
Oh, frick. I haven't seen in much. I don't think I've seen much Star Trek news lately. It's all... I've really been avoiding it because it really bothers me. Because seriously, then I have to like remember and I have to be reminded that they're coming back. Right?
Oh, did you see the thing about the She-Ra votes? She-Ra being upvoted or whatever?
I've made like 4 videos on that Rotten Tomatoes.
Okay, yeah, tell me about that a little bit more because I haven't really. I mean, I've seen the one video. Yeah, I think your first video, but I don't think I've seen any.
So it started out with like all the critics giving She-Ra a 5 out of 10, which is fine. I mean, you can, or not a 5 out of 10, 5 stars out of 5 for Rotten Tomatoes, but they actually didn't. But they were all 100% scores, even though like half of them were giving her a 3-star out of 5 sort of review. They were still certifying it as fresh, so it got 100% on Rotten Tomatoes. But they're all publications like the Mary Sue, and they're all like a good month before the show even came out. So then once they finally went live with the show that Tuesday that it aired, all the audience score was at 0, and that the critic score was still at 100%. So that was like the first or the second video I did on that. And then the next day, people were telling me, actually the score is up to 40% now. So you go look, and the 40% audience score that was 0 initially are just 1,000 upon 1,000 of these accounts that are just 5-star with no rating, and they have no history, and they were created November 2018. It was like somebody hired a marketing firm or something to go and fill out a whole bunch of fake reviews, or a whole bunch of people did. Or
I see him looking at it now here. It's still sitting at 100%.
Yeah, 100% critic score, even though the average rating is 7.6 out of 10.
The last time I checked out, about 75%.
Yeah. But that's because they all gave it a fresh score, apparently.
Oh, fuck that.
And then, of course, you go into the audience score. There's just a whole bunch of just blank audience scores. Or people saying, like the 1-star scores that have reviews are really nice, in-depth. They talk about how the characters are just not good. They're not very interesting. Whatever. And then you can go into like the audience score. And
look at this here. The audience score is right on par with what this is, okay?
Yeah.
So why is this 74 and this not 74?
I don't know.
At least 76.
Because of how the critics checked their little, do you recommend this or not?
I haven't watched it yet. Here's terrible. The thing. I've had a lot of people come at me like, there is no agenda on the show. It's like, well, they keep writing about it, the agenda. They're like, well, if you watch it, you will see. And I will eventually watch it, all right? But I'm trying to like distance myself a little bit from it. So I'm like not totally hate watching it, legitly hate watching it, you know? That's kind of what I've been doing with STD, if you haven't noticed, but I got to watch the last 2 episodes and the short tracks.
They're not good.
I know. That's what I've heard.
The short tracks are not good either.
That's what I've heard. Tom, Amazon has the original 4 Herbie movies on DVD for $98. I think I still actually have the original DVD pack for my kid back in the day, but I just have to upgrade the Blu-ray. I'm a Blu-ray man if I can, so I'm a film snob. Yeah. Oh man.
But yeah, you can actually click that audience score and you'll see a whole bunch of just 5-star with just a first name and
an initial. I clicked it. It took me to nothing.
I can probably find there's a trick to get to it too.
Yeah, see, I'm like clicking it and it says no.
View all.
Okay. Oh, okay. Here we go.
Yeah.
An odd show, to be honest. While I like the first one, storyline. Da, da, da.
But yeah, if you click like the ones that are 5-star with nothing, you'll see like that Thai L.
Yeah.
Probably November.
No. And this one's in another language.
Pork Chop J. I love it. It's great.
Which is fine. Don't get me wrong, but let's face it here. I'm not going to be the first person to tell you guys a lot of these people are outsourced.
Yeah.
Like, I know this for a fact because I used to buy advertisements on Facebook. Guess what they do? They get a bunch of people from Mexico and other places to just like your shit.
Yeah.
That's all it is.
Yep.
I'm not probably telling anybody anything they probably don't already know, but see, now this is a real guy. You can see his face. This person actually wants to see it. Okay, I believe that. They got.
I would say just click any of those that are 5-star with no picture, and
okay, like
that. November 2018 probably. November 2018. Gee, I'm psychic.
Yeah, so even if they are fake bots, if not, they're people who are just trying to push their agenda on it. And I think that's the thing. It was like the Umbrella guy or whatever did a video about how it's basically like the same thing that you were kind of saying is like they're just going on and upvoting it.
Yeah.
Look at all this. It's like we get almost exact as how I got to get away from this shit. I hate Rotten Tomatoes.
Yep.
With a fucking passion. We got to get signed up for that though, so we can just fuck some shit up over there.
I think I need 30,000 subscribers. So if anyone wants to help with that, and it's like 30,000 subscribers and 2 years of similar content. So I've only switched over my content.
Well, Midnight's Edge is in. So,
but yeah, Midnight's Edge is absolutely in.
Well, maybe we can finagle you in there. We'll see.
Yeah,
I'll talk to the boss, man.
But then I can absolutely be a Rotten Tomatoes critic, and that would be amazing.
That's right.
So yeah, if you guys haven't subscribed to me, no.
Well, anything helps.
I know.
Anything helps. Yeah, if you guys out there, since I have noticed some names I have never seen before, if you haven't subscribed to Midnight's Edge, please do, and Midnight's Edge After Dark. We are 2 separate channels. Some people do, believe it or not, there's some people who don't realize there is a original channel, surprisingly enough. And then there's a lot of people out there who don't know we exist. So tell your friends, tell your sister, your brother, your enemies, whoever. Yeah. You know, because we piss a lot of people off. So if you're to your enemies, we might piss them off too. Who knows? Yeah. Terry Light says they are bots. They probably can be.
I think a lot of the time they are.
I mean, otherwise, like I said, they're just hired out. And I
had people in my comment section say, yes, I've done this job. This is like a job that people can get. So
right. And here's where the guy, and I know it's going to sound like I'm actually helping him, and I kind of am, where the guy who did the whole thing, like, oh, Russian bots were responsible for The Last Jedi's ratings.
Yeah.
He should have reworded that correctly. It wasn't bots, as in like, fake, like a machine.
Mm-hmm.
The way, if you actually read into it, and this is what Larry and Mike did over at the Wilk Report and found out and talked to the guy and got things kind of the bottom of it is he was figuring out that it was most likely these paid trolls.
Yeah.
Which different to me, if you hear bot, what do you think of when you hear bot?
I think it is a computer program that's designed to post automatically.
Right.
Yeah.
See, exactly. That's not exactly what he was getting. He's talking about there's these hired goons. Sure, there's probably some electronic, fake ones, but even if there was enough on the other end to where it doesn't matter. You know what I mean? And I don't think that you can even really go by that when it's very obvious that even if you want to be you know, fair about it, it's at least 50-50 on this, to where the audience is split down the middle on this Star Wars thing.
Yep.
So you can't deny that. It will, no matter what bots are involved, or if there is Russians in there trying to get people to fight about it, it's possibly true. I'm not saying it is or isn't, but he needed to find a better way to present his evidence.
Mm-hmm.
And here we're looking at the same kind of thing, to be honest with you. I'm not trying to add credence to that whole Last Jedi thing. Even when we reported it way back in the day, we said, we don't think it really matters. It might have what, 2-3% change on the actual.
Yeah.
And this guy was saying it was like a point something percent change, wasn't it? Or
Yeah.
something. It was even less than what I said. Yeah.
It was so minuscule. It was like a 1/16% or something.
Yeah, like who the fuck cares? You got a room for error too on that, guys. Come on.
No, I think that article exists just because people only read headlines. They do things just enough to say, "Oh, well, see, I did scientific stuff," just so people say, "Well, yeah, see, it checks out. I mean, I read the headline and I skimmed the article; it matches up."
Well, and it's a good thing you brought up headlines. I talked about that today, Thanksgiving dinner, because somebody's like, "Oh, I seen Hugh Jackman's coming back for Wolverine." I didn't even have to read the article. Okay, and I told him, no, probably somebody asked him about it, and he either said, "Oh yeah, I would," or he's saying Wolverine will come back, but it probably won't be him.
Mm-hmm.
And that's exactly pretty much what the article was. If people have seen the article, they probably know what I'm talking about. But if you go by the headline, Hugh Jackman's coming back as Wolverine.
Yeah.
And that's what I said. See, that's the thing. They do those on purpose. So you guys read the headlines and you tell 10 friends and they tell 10 friends. And then the news gets, it takes on a life of its own, to where the truth is like way back there. And what's funny is because how much we get accused of doing this shit. It's like, we're not. We try to do the opposite. It's like we're trying to stop the hyperbole. We're trying to, it's like, oh man, the clickbait bullshit. Yeah, it's like, come on, guys. We know what this shit is. We're not trying to be that. We're trying to sift through that shit and find the truth, Oh,
I have people commenting on like my video titles all the time without ever, I'm like, okay, did you actually watch the video though? Because I have to clickbait it sometimes.
Right, we are all guilty of it. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah, like on that Jodie Whittaker thing, Doctor Who, is Jodie Whittaker leaving? Well, yeah, that's clickbait. And then I read the article, and then I pick apart the article, and yeah, they
apologize, guys, but we know you guys, the normal audience, are at least smart enough to know that too.
Yeah.
Midnight's Edge is playing Wolverine. I just might. Old fat Wolverine. Why not? You had young Elvis and young skinny Elvis, and you had old fat Elvis. I'll be old fat Wolverine. He can be young skinny Wolverine.
That
even
works.
when he's old.
Might as well.
So yeah, we were hoping for a guest tonight, but I don't think he's going to show up. I think he kind of passed out. Probably he's had a long day.
He hates us.
Yeah,
I don't know who you're talking about.
Doomcock.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I was hoping, and I was trying to get hold of Rob too, but I think he's also in a, what do you call that, triptych coma.
Probably sleeping. Beer
and turkey and sports ball. Yeah. John Goodman is really old man Logan. Oh God. Byron Dunbar, you are our guest. You're in the chat. You're all our guests. That's the best part, is you're all in it with us. You're just as guilty as we are.
You can post a review using a Facebook account. Oh, okay. So over on Rotten Tomatoes, you can use that on Facebook. I don't have Facebook though.
No, but he's talking about just a regular person though too. We're talking about actually being considered one of the
critic scores.
Yeah, the actual critic scores. Yeah, that's what we're talking about. Unless I'm missing something.
No, I think just to post as a regular viewer, you can
tryptophan. Thank you. I couldn't remember the word. You guys haven't figured out. I can't fucking talk. It's amazing that I can get through this shit.
I had a super It was a burrito grande, just a giant beef and bean burrito smothered in green chili, and that was my Thanksgiving dinner, and it was
Hey,
amazing.
I guess if it makes you happy and you're thankful. So
It was kind of amazing.
yeah.
It's truck stop stuff, so you got to go to like the best giant truck stops out there.
Thunderdan says it's almost midnight and Rob couldn't make it to Midnight's Edge. Poser. Actually, he's an hour ahead. Or well, hour ahead of me. He's like 2 or 3 hours ahead of you, isn't he?
He's 2 hours ahead of me now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So he, I can understand.
I did travel back in time.
Gotta get back in time. Chris Parza, or Perza, however you say it. Thank you for the $10 Canadian super chat for Tom to cameo as Wolverine in Avengers 4. Well, you paid for that ticket right there already. I can't guarantee it's going to happen, but if I probably live way too far away considering it's Canadian. But if I could be in the movie for you, I would. Otherwise, I'd say I'd show up to your local theater and just get up on stage and some Wolverine claws for you. But I can't probably do that. They probably won't even let me in another country with my look.
Well, do you have a passport?
No.
I was gonna say I haven't
been nowheres.
Well, I've gone to Canada, but I went to Canada before you needed a passport.
I'm probably on like a dozen lists.
Yeah, but they usually let you travel if you're on those lists.
Well, I'm saying I'm sure I'm on some list somewhere that's like, don't let this guy in your country.
Oh, okay.
I don't know, maybe. I'm not that bad, but you never know. I do make enemies.
Yeah, probably for the best that you don't travel to other countries. Then you'll have
like Star Trek, you bloody bastard! Shoot him!
Oh god, I have some of the worst people from that I've ever run into on Twitter that are allegedly from the UK. I don't believe it, but yeah, one of my stalkers is allegedly from the UK, and he actually loves Star Trek Discovery. I have no idea why. Normally, British people are smarter than that. Not this guy, but yeah, I don't get it. It's so weird.
I don't care if somebody likes it. Just two things. Don't fucking try to make me like it.
Yeah.
And don't tear down old Star Trek to try and make STD better, because all you're going to do is piss off the other person you're talking to.
Yeah.
That'd be like going up and say, what? You mean you don't like the new Fantastic Boys or whatever the new boy bands are anymore? I don't fucking know. I don't listen to shit like that.
I don't know.
They're better than the Beatles. That's not going to get an old person to listen to your new teenage music, guys.
Yeah, you got to be respectful of the older stuff.
No, it'd be like more like, oh, you'll like them because you like the Beatles. Now that's a better way to put it.
Yeah.
But now here's the problem. You can't say to somebody, you should like it because you like Star Trek. That doesn't fit.
No, it doesn't.
You know, if somebody come up to you and say, what was the name of that band that sang Wonderwall? It's Oasis.
Oasis.
If somebody come up to me and said, you might like Oasis because you're a Beatles fan. I can understand why they would recommend Oasis to me after listening to them. Right? Whether I like them or not is inconsequential. The point is, it's understandable why somebody would come to you and say, look, you might like this because of this. It's like, it makes fucking sense. When somebody says, you might like Orville because you love Star Trek, makes sense. But when somebody says you might like Star Trek Discovery because you like Star Trek, that doesn't make sense. That would make Spock's brain explode.
Well, yeah, because Star Trek Discovery is nothing like Star Trek. It just has a few of the beeps and boops in the background. That's it. It's Star Trek in tramp stamp only,
Tramp stamp.
Well, that's what it is.
It's not even in tramp stamp. That's at least more legit. At least chances are, if you see a tramp stamp, you got a good 50% chance of being a tramp. Star Trek Discovery had the 50% chance of being Star Trek and fucked that up. And they only had to worry about 25%. Yeah. Instead, it's like not even 75% less than Star Trek. It's not even 25% like Star Trek, is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, it's not. It's like 99% different.
Not Trek, yeah.
Those little beeps and boops are nice, but they're not like Star Trek. Like that's just an homage to Star Trek. You can have those beeps and boops in like a fan video parody, Right.
And even though I don't agree with it, people can come up with, well, it's a decent sci-fi show. Yeah, it may not be like Trek. And that's what a lot of these guys are doing to justify it.
Mm-hmm.
And to me, that's like, then that's the exact reason why not to like it. Then make it something else. You know, don't make it Star Trek.
I don't even think it's good enough to be like a generic
Me
sci-fi
either,
show.
but I can respect people enough, and there's some respect people that I do respect that do sadly like the show or at least stick up for it or things like it, to where I can understand to a point where certain people are going to no matter what, right? And if you can give me a respectable reason why, fine. And usually they can, even if I disagree with it per se. But if you're going to be a stupid idiot who just comes up and says Star Trek's awesome, Discovery's awesome, you should like it because it's Star Trek, it's like, no, it's not Star Trek. That's the problem.
But if we don't have Discovery, we won't have new Star Trek.
Do I have to say the McLean thing again?
I know. I'm just quoting what they say.
I can do a different one, you know, like what's a new flavor of Mountain Dew? They always got a new flavor of Mountain Dew.
Code Red and
okay, well, whatever. If you don't buy Code Red, we won't have Mountain Dew anymore. We won't have Pepsi products no more. No, that's not going to happen. Even Coke managed to live through New Coke.
Yep.
That's kind of what this is the equivalent of New Coke to Star Trek. It's New Trek. We call it that for a reason.
Yeah. They say it's better, that it's taste tested better in their focus groups, but you know what? But you just don't want it. You got to bring back Trek Classic.
And I mean, I understand not everything can be like it was per se, and I don't even think many people's problems with it, much like the whole Ghostbusters thing, was that they didn't have an issue with them being girls, as it was just a dumb movie and attacking the fans. In this instance, you have different but similar situation where, you know, it's just not Trek, you know, and they're not attacking the fans in the show, but they are kind of in a way, aren't they? I guess
they kind of are.
I think they're kind of like, because they're telling you that your old Trek is boring.
Yeah.
So they kind of are, you know. So you can't do that. I mean, I understand you can't upgrade everything, and not everything's going to look exactly like it did on the old show, but give me something close enough, at least closer than JJ Trek, to where it could be like, okay, you made an effort. I can accept this, you know. But it doesn't have decent characters. It doesn't feel like Trek. And even though they're promising next season's going to be more like Trek, I will not hold my breath.
Yeah, I think this is going to be closer to the Orville. I think it's going to be... it can't be that Trek, I don't think. Right.
Well, I just read an interview with Sonequa where she had talked about how the fans, I'm paraphrasing now, of course. She basically said the fans will find it refreshing, and it's fun for us to actually be in a setting to where it's more like a classic Trek in a way. That's not exactly how she put it, though, in a sense that it's the standard. You have a captain, you have a crew. So they're basically going to try. Now, do I really, like I said, I'm not going to hold my breath. I don't have any faith in them to fix it. No. It's beyond fixing, because you kind of run into the same situation like The Last Jedi. It's already been broken. How do you fucking fix it now? Yeah. No amount of super glue or duct tape is going to fix that shit.
I think the best thing I can do is just, they need to retcon the series, and they're never going to do that. They will never retcon the series. Same thing with Last Jedi. They need to retcon that. It's not going to happen. You're going to have half of your fan base pissed off, and you're going to be kind of in this, how do we dangle the carrots in front of their nose and get them to come back mode? And that's why we have the Picard show. That's why we have, you know, all the, oh, Luke's coming back in the next movie, guys. See, we're listening to you. We didn't kill Luke. Never mind. Oopsie.
Right. And I got to say something now to defend Midnight's Edge in the interview we did, because some people are like, oh, that just proves you guys were wrong about the Con series. No, it proves we were right to a point, because we never said it was going to replace STD. We said it was a possible replacement. And what we've learned is they have a lot of possible replacements for STD. So it's not out of the realm of possibility that we were telling the truth at that time. But guess what? Brian Fuller got fired. And at that moment, it sure did sound like after that shit happened, Nicholas Meyer didn't have anything to do with anything, and they didn't get back to him. Yeah, he was involved to a point, but it was like he said in the interview, once it hit the air, I had nothing to do with it after that. And we know for a fact that the show wasn't even completely done for the season. And they only had, how many episodes to begin with when they first aired it? I think they had 4 or 5 done.
I think they had like 5 done. when they first
So,
aired it.
and from what I did was a little research and found is from best I could find, and I'm not trying to knock Nicholas Meyer or anything or call him a liar or anything like that, because I'm sure they consulted with him and he gave him notes and other things like that. Best I could find, though, is he wrote part of the second half of the pilot, and that was it.
So, well, the second half of the pilot, like the second part of episode 1, the Battle of, okay. Because I always kind of say STD had like 4 pilots. So you have the pilot that was free, then the pilot that you had to go and pay for, and then the pilot when they finally showed you the ship, and then the pilot when the mirror universe.
Right, I was just going to say that too. In a way, I was going to say that's the thing though, is by the time it probably got from his version to the version we saw on TV, there's probably a reason why he's like, oh, I can't remember exactly what I contributed to, and because I doubt a lot of what he did is left. In that show, because we know it went through so many changes, and I'm just so sick of the haters trying to just nitpick on stupid bullshit. And it's like, you guys aren't even seeing the bigger picture here at all. No. You know, and I'm not talking about you guys listening in the audience right now. I'm talking about
these are like the 1 or 2 angry commenters,
or
yeah. Well, you saw what I got into on Twitter that time with those people where I just said, hey, you do know that some people call it this term, and I'm not going to mention it because we don't want to be flagged, but it's basically the term that a few YouTubers have been using to describe the sort of very stunted writing and very challenged mentally writing of Discovery. And it's a term that people got very offended by. Unjustly, and they went and decided
we had a whole show about it. So.
Oh yeah, and they decided to flag my Twitter, and they decided to do all these things to kind of target harass my Twitter handle. They had these Facebook groups that they were trying to organize to come after me, all because they didn't actually read what I said.
Right.
I was saying, oh, some people say this. I didn't call it this. I didn't, and yeah, I probably did in the video. I'm sure I have on live streams retrospect.
Right.
But in this tweet, it's just, you're kind of shooting the messenger in this tweet. What if I was anybody else just telling you that? What I have to justify? What I have to like throw somebody under the bus who actually said it in a video? Like, seriously. Right. And it's like they can't read. They react to what they think they hear.
KSSS seems. I seem to remember when 2009 Star Trek was made, Orsi said he was the Star Trek fan and Kurtzman was just a casual viewer. Yeah, it's funny you bring up Kurtzman because notice how Nicholas never mentioned Kurtzman's name once. And I don't know, because it goes against what Nicholas said. Somebody said something for me to believe that Kurtzman was the one who actually let Nicholas go. He says he never got contacted, but so I don't know. That's one of those things where I don't want to peddle too much there. It's just a matter of he said, she said in this case, I guess. But I think that the cracks are starting to show. Even though Amazon is sold out of the Blu-ray of Star Trek Discovery, which does need to be noted, I've said there's many reasons why this could be, and it probably is selling fairly decent.
Well, I imagine a lot of people would just we're not going to pay CBS All Access. Exactly. They could just buy the DVD for $20 or whatever, instead of how many months? $10 a month for 6 months? Yeah, $60. You could just buy the DVD for the one show you'd watch.
Right, and that's what I was going to say is if you went to any of the ads for Star Trek Discovery on Twitter or Facebook and read all the comments, they were generally split up into about 3 or 4 factions. You'd have the people who've seen it and hated it, those who were griping that it was behind a paywall, those who were defending it, and the last group was those saying, I'll just wait for DVD. So you have a couple of groups out there at least buying the DVD and Blu-ray. That being said. And I think it's more telling that the Blu-ray ran out because the process of producing these right now, I brought this up in another show, was, they closed one of the, as far as I know, was the last remaining Blu-ray plant in the US. So, and Blu-rays are technically, I guess, a lot cheaper to produce, according to Gary, which I believe him because he worked in the one part of the industry at Warner Brothers or whatever. So, even though I think they'd be just the same price to me, but or DVDs or Blu-rays would be a little bit more expensive, but I guess they're cheaper to produce. Frankly, I think there's probably, I've seen more Blu-rays than I have DVDs out there. And I have seen nearly empty shelves at Walmart, but you've said you've seen stacks of them. Some other people have said they've seen stacks of them. So it's very possible.
Yeah, they had them moved. I think they had them for a Black Friday special at
Could
Walmart.
be.
So they had them for like $20.
Could be.
But nobody was reaching for them, so.
Could be. But they are all sold out already on Amazon.
Well,
That
how
doesn't
many
mean I
did
won't
they
get
get in
more.
on
I
Amazon
don't know,
too?
but generally Amazon gets quite a few. So, some people think they may have gotten some limited amount. That's plausible. But generally, the only time it seems like Amazon has any fucking issues with a distributor, it's Disney, and that's it.
Yeah, because I went to buy the Elgato Stream Deck from Amazon, and they were already sold out before Wednesday. So
So, and Amazon generally gets a good. Amazon's one of those where they make an exception and make sure that's where the whole Disney thing comes in. Is all the other companies like Walmart and shit are pissed that Amazon's getting so much attention that Disney sided with Walmart in that argument. That's part of it. So they limit how much inventory that Amazon actually gets. So, because they've always had a deal with like Walmart and Target and shit too. So that's why you still see Disney movies quite a bit at those places. But at Walmart's Blu-ray and DVD section has turned to shit. Even
oh
Best
yeah.
Buy's section has turned to shit.
Well, Best Buy doesn't even have them hardly. Like the Best Buy here had them just on a back wall, shoved in a corner. They barely
Wow.
have video games too. I think the next console isn't the next Xbox console just gonna have like
Download
a
only.
yeah a data port. Like
Well, that's what
that's what's gonna
that's
have.
what kind of started the streaming war. If I don't know if anybody out there listening who's listened to our interview with Bill Hunt where we talk about the upcoming streaming war and the history of format wars, but that's kind of what's starting, or did I say the streaming? That's kind of what started the Blu-ray versus HD DVD war. I meant, and that was partially because Bill Gates he didn't give a shit about HD DVD. He just wanted to kill Blu-ray because he wanted the next Xbox after that to be all about downloading. He just didn't get it until the generation after. That's all. Does that make sense? Like he
Yeah.
backed HD DVD to create a format war to try and kill both. Basically, he was trying to get behind streaming, which most of the industry is. It's just it was a matter of time. But at that time, rural areas had not caught up yet, and everybody knew there was going to be at least one or two more formats before it died out as far as digital or physical media goes. But I don't trust digital media. I don't at all. And I know Doomcock talked a little bit about this earlier, but he wasn't wrong. These places can pull your licenses at any time.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
And we've already had incidences where this has happened. Some guy complained about losing, I think, 2 or 3 movies on his iTunes account, and in return, he got like 2 free rentals of
That's
whatever.
stupid.
It's like, oh, we just took away your movie you paid 20, 30 bucks for, but here you go, here's 2 free rentals. And I've heard other stories about that, not just with movies, too, books and other things as well. So, yeah, if you can get something in a physical copy, do it. You can download it and back it up off of whatever it is you use to do digital stuff, do it. That's the best thing I can tell you right now because you never know.
Yeah.
Licenses don't last forever.
Well, yeah, and that's why like I noticed when I bought the Laugh-In set, I noticed that they had it on Amazon just to watch if you have Amazon Prime. And everybody like everybody on eBay and Amazon were selling theirs for like super cheap. Like I think it was a $300 set originally. I think I ended up paying 50 because everybody's like, "Oh, I can just watch this on Amazon. I'll sell my set." And my first thought was, "Oh, that is the stupidest thing I've ever heard." Amazon might only have that on there for like a year, right? Yeah. Don't do that. So they'll all be clamoring for the set, and here I have it now. So, but yeah, I always tell people never ever just settle for like, oh, I'm just gonna watch it on the streaming thing because
Right.
yeah, especially if it's something obscure or rare or something that took forever to get made and put on DVD or Blu-ray, something that you cherish that much, buy the physical, have a backup somewhere if you do have a downloaded copy, have it on a couple of hard drives if you can, but
Right. Well, and I had an ex who never used to let me buy movies as much as I do now and used to before that. And I regret a lot of the stuff I didn't get.
yeah.
So, like you said, if it's something that you haven't seen for a long time,
Yeah.
or it's one of these like limited companies like Shout or Midnight, or what are
Yeah,
they called?
there's a lot of
Twilight.
those Like there's a lot of those that I will be like, oh, I'm buying this now because I will never see it again.
Yeah.
And I guess like if Pandemonium came out, I would buy that. That would be an immediate purchase. You Can't Have That on Television was one. The Laugh-In was definitely one because I knew that took forever to come out on DVD. Possibly because of all the music. You know, a lot of the times you have all these songwriter royalties. They I think the whole first season of Laugh-In, they have like musical acts. I know they had the Bee Gees on one episode, the first edition on one, Kenny Rogers' psychedelic band.
Right.
Yeah, just a whole bunch of musical acts. So
Right. And I know a lot of people who will turn around and they'll buy them. They'll use the digital copy, for whatever, and then they'll go sell the Blu-ray or DVD.
yeah,
It's like, why are you doing that? You've been better off selling your digital copy, my friend. It's like, ugh. Because even Disney changed their shit recently. Luckily, you were able to transfer it over to whatever, but that stuff happens. These companies are not going to last forever. When it's all said and done, there's only going to be like Amazon, Netflix, and maybe one or two other ones. iTunes, maybe,
yeah.
and like Vudu's doing okay, I think. But see, Vudu's kind of taken up most of. See, even that's not doing as well, obviously, as they're hoping. Because look at all these Ultraviolet and all these Disney Now, and all these other companies that have all sold out to Vudu, basically.
Mm-hmm.
So they're not doing nearly as well because I'm sure Amazon has the market corner. Amazon and iTunes have the market cornered on digital anyway, and maybe even the Microsoft store to a point. But I don't know too many people who use that to get.
I've never been able to get that to load. Like the Microsoft store. There was I think they had Sea of Thieves on a trial back when that came out, and I was trying for like it felt like days to get the store to load, and I'm like, you know what, screw it. I don't need to play this game that much.
But yeah, I do know they have like games, like you said, in movies and TV shows, I think, on there too. But anyway, that's the thing is there's so many places you can do these, and it's like I'm always afraid to buy something. It's like, well, what if like next year this thing doesn't exist anymore? It's like, then what do I do?
Mm-hmm.
Because even some that you can download them, you still have to watch them through their app. It's not like you're getting a clean digital version when you download them. Usually, you
Yeah.
still have to watch it through whatever it is you got it through. So you're still limited. I mean, some people are smart enough and know how to crack things and do whatever, but yeah, Microsoft Store is garbage from day one, says DJD Show. Like Matt Guy says too, there's always local thrift shops and record stores and pawn shops and all that kind of stuff. I love going through there because they generally don't know what they have too. There's times where I've found Blu-rays and DVDs that I know are worth a pretty penny, and they had no idea what they had.
Yeah.
So.
Oh, absolutely. And sometimes they'll have like just a stack of stuff. I'm still looking for the Devo video game that might end up in the CD section somewhere. Or sometimes you find the PlayStation 1 games in the CD section too. But yeah, I always try and find stuff at thrift stores. The sad thing is I find all of like the high end, or not the high end, like the mainstream stuff that I skipped over the first place. I remember pretty much every thrift store you go into, you can find the copy of Titanic. And yeah, that's kind of always the type of movies I end up seeing there. I never see anything really rare.
Well, right. That's not the stuff we're really talking about, obviously. We're not talking about Titanic or Jurassic Park or Forrest Gump, the norms that you run into with these or Disney movies. But no, if you happen to stumble across, God, just off the top of my head, I'm trying to think.
Dead Alive or something.
Yeah, Dead Alive. I actually have a DVD of that. I bought that. I made sure I bought that when it came out.
Yeah, that was when it was an immediate buy. Yeah,
I think that's actually coming to Blu-ray though. If I'm not mistaken, but I could be wrong.
I think it is on Blu-ray, but like the original DVD goes for a crap ton. Last time I saw.
Unless there's a reason for it. That was when I got cheap. Trying to think of one that I paid a buttload for, or I would have paid a buttload for. I mean, but I found it at a thrift store or a pawn shop. I know, like the Motown 25 set.
Mm-hmm.
That one's like an expensive one that I found for dirt cheap. Gosh, back in the day, it's cheaper now, but back in the day when it first came out, I got the Star Trek 1 through 6 movies.
Yeah.
From a used shop for like $40, I think.
Yeah.
Which when it was at that time like 100 something.
I think I bought my Star Trek, like the movie DVD set. I think I bought those for $1 a piece.
Right.
Because who I bought them from was upgrading to the director's cuts.
Yeah, there's a couple of them do. I still have those DVDs. I know the ones you're talking about, but if I can, I generally prefer the Blu-ray. I hate DVD anymore.
Oh yeah, well this
It's
is
like
before
VHS
Blu-ray
used to
was
be to
really a
me.
thing.
But oh yeah, yeah. But back then it was even harder to find movies. Now they're a dime a dozen as far as DVDs go. That's the best part, and that's when I'll usually only buy a DVD if it's something I know is not on Blu-ray, and chances of me getting it on Blu-ray are slim to none. Then I will.
Yeah.
But I mean, there's even been some where I thought that was going to be the case, and it's not anymore. And one example is Munchies. I bought the DVD for that, tracked it down. Didn't actually pay as much as I thought I'd have to, but now the Blu-ray's coming out soon, so.
Oh man. But it's better than it's better than not having them, I guess.
Right. Well, and like Darth Hammer also brought out, they're also better quality. Even 4K streaming is not nearly as good because of the high bit rate and the compression and all that kind of stuff. Audio especially suffers.
Yeah. And when you're watching through streaming too, like you've got to imagine how good is the thing you're watching it on.
Right. And there's
Sometimes
some companies I don't like how they do shit, and some are better than others. Yeah.
And your internet might not be able to handle it too.
Yeah, you have that issue. There's always that. But yeah, I don't think our guest is going to show up. I think he passed out on us.
Probably.
So unless anybody's got any good questions in the chat, I'm sure it's getting pretty late for you two over there now.
It is 12:30, 1:30, 12:30.
Yeah. See, it's 1:30 here.
It's a little late. I mean, I'm going to be doing the 10,000 sub stream tomorrow evening too.
Yeah, so be sure to check that out, you guys. She's doing that in celebration of 10K subs. I'll try and at least show up in the chat if not.
And Black Friday and stuff. I do have to do more shopping though for Black Friday.
Lucky you. I don't have the money, so.
I don't either. I just got to buy a house.
All right, folks. I think it's about time we wrapped her up. What do you guys think?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think we did a pretty good show. A little over an hour. That's not too shabby.
76 people watching for this time of night. That's actually really good.
Thanks so much for showing up, guys. We appreciate it. Especially on a holiday.
And don't forget to hit the like button. It's absolutely free.
Yeah, it's absolutely free. Hit the share button. That's free too. Make sure your bell icon is always clicked because they like to unclick that. Is Jake ever going to escape the shack? Hopefully soon, Slithering Peanut. We've been trying to get him on again. Every time we seem like we're going to get him, he has to go. So I don't know if it's just because he's got to deal with baby stuff or what's going on. So, yeah. So it's all the, trying to sync everybody's schedule up. Just same thing with Andre anymore. But he's promised to be on a little bit more too. So, all right. So happy Thanksgiving, everybody. Thank you so much for showing up. I want to thank Random for joining me on the show. And don't forget to check her out on her show tomorrow. At what time are you starting?
Probably 8 Central.
All right. So at 8 Central time, be sure to check in for her 10K celebration. Congratulations on that again. I know we congratulated a few times, but it's worth it. So, yay. All right, guys. So thanks so much for joining us on this Thanksgiving, and take care.